You ready, Chris?
You ready, Ben?
Let's get it.
Man, let's get it, man. Welcome to the Follow Then Lead podcast. What's up, beautiful people, man? We back at it one more time to bless your minds. Yo.
Bless your holy mind.
Yeah, man. I'm Chris. I'm in the building with my brother, Ben. What's up, bro?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, man. How you feeling? Man, it's all good. How you feeling?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
You looking snappy, man. You got the business attire on, bro. You looking good, man. Looking
man,
real
you
suave.
Start getting older.
Yeah.
Hey, go look good, feel good.
Yeah, I remember
Work
that.
good.
I remember
Get
that.
paid.
Yeah. Hey, and
Deion Sanders.
you definitely rocking that though, bro. You look good. You got the pay increase, so you're making you getting paid.
No, I'm working for the next one.
I ain't mad at you, bro.
I'm
Keep it
working
going. Yeah,
for the
it's out
next
there,
one.
yo. It's out there. That's nonstop.
But yeah,
so that's beautiful.
I'm feeling good.
Yeah.
It's just tired.
Yeah.
You push through. You just gotta work.
Amen to
No
that.
excuses.
Man, look, I know all about pushing through and not making no excuses. And got a little toothache, little tooth pain, but
A
yo,
little.
yeah, just a little. I ain't finna big it up like that. I ain't
Bruh,
yeah.
are you not? Listen, if pain, and when we talking about there's a scale of like different types of pain,
Yeah,
mouth pain is, what is it? Number one.
yeah.
I can break a bone. I can tear some ligaments,
Uh-huh.
That could be like a 3-2, without pain meds. But when you have mouth pain, there's almost nothing they can give you to take all the pain away.
Yeah,
Because you're messing with nerves, the bone is close to your head,
yeah,
all the different nerves.
yeah,
And you dealing with that right now.
yeah.
And you like, I'm not going to big it up.
I'm gonna say this: mind over matter.
Okay. Okay.
I would say
So-
mind over matter, bro.
so-
But yeah, look, I mean, you got me going with the whole pushing through and
Yeah.
all that. Yeah,
But at
We
least
here.
keep it real about the
all right.
the battle.
It sucks. It sucks, man. But you look, we got stuff to do. We got business to handle, man. And
Yes,
look,
sir.
hey, we making it happen, bro.
But
It's
and,
yeah.
and you're gonna be get cleared up soon, so that's a good thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes my aunt, one of my aunts when I was younger, told me that basically never let the dentist get a hold of my mouth because they create more problems.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Now that I'm getting older and I start dealing with actual mouth pain because I wasn't taking care of my mouth,
Mm-hmm.
so who's gonna do it better, them or me? Because
Facts.
apparently I didn't do
Yeah,
a good
yeah,
enough
yeah.
job. So
Look.
I might as well go to them to have them help me out.
Yeah, mouth pain is no joke.
Yeah.
You got to take care of the pearly whites.
You got to.
Yeah.
That's it goes to the responsibility of us taking care of ourselves.
Yeah, true. Using toothbrush and Colgate ain't enough. We gotta.
Yeah, you gotta floss.
Yeah,
You be flossing?
I be flossing, bro. Now
Daily?
they got the
You floss daily?
yeah, bro. Cause now they got the
little-
toothpicks.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
they got
like
the
the double,
toothpicks
yep.
with the little floss in there. So
All day.
all day, so I'm good with the flossing.
Okay.
They made it real convenient for your boy.
Man, the last time I had a root canal, not this past time, the one before that,
Yeah,
my teeth were on a bad direction. And the dentist was like, listen, if you don't start flossing, you're gonna start really losing some teeth.
yeah,
And trust me, I floss 3 times a day now. Ever since he said I got floss at work, I got floss in the car,
yeah.
I got floss at home, literally all day.
I ain't mad at you.
You seen the apartment, just a little, I gotta clean up my little toothpaste.
That's all right, bro. That's dope, man. Ain't nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that, man. But like you said, them little, taking care of them little responsibilities or whatever, avoid major concerns later on down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah, it's just, well, the saying I like to say, spend money to save money.
Hmm.
Hey,
Same thing apply.
it's same things apply.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's dope stuff. Well, look, we in a good mood, man. It's all smiles over here, all good stuff. And so, yes, you want to speak about the launch?
We launched officially, and folks know,
Yeah,
by now. Hopefully, y'all know by now that we're live on all platforms.
yeah,
All major platforms.
Yeah,
Apple,
yeah.
Spotify,
yeah.
SoundCloud, YouTube.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's exciting.
It's dope.
It's really exciting to finally let it go and just start seeing some of the feedback.
Mhm.
It's pretty good too.
Yeah.
Start hearing positive feedback.
You taking the training wheels off the baby. That's what it is.
That's the you get nervous as a parent.
Mm-hmm.
You start letting stuff go. You're like, well, what if?
Yeah.
And you're like, just hey.
Yeah. Let the baby do what they need
once
to
you
do.
just got that, fine, I'll just let it go.
Uh-huh.
And you see it stumble a little bit. Okay, now we just course correct.
Yeah.
But it feels good, to hear, even before the official release, hearing, sending to people, oh, what do you think? What do you think about the sound? Having constructive feedback and criticism. And then now it's just like, it's for the public.
Yeah.
And then even what we're going to talk about today, like, it's a level of vulnerability.
True that. There you go. There you go.
Letting something go for others to take on and critique on their own, whether they like it or not.
Yeah.
You in a state of vulnerability because it's something you created.
Mm-hmm.
It's like business owners and they had a product out there. Whether people buy it or not is a level of vulnerability. Like you've created something.
Yeah. You just boom. You just open out there.
Yeah. Now you
just
just open.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it's the level in which we communicate. Being vulnerable.
Facts.
And being open about our lives and stuff. It's like, oh, okay, now the world's about to know.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels good. It's exciting.
Yeah.
They can talk all the mess they want to, but we making moves.
I'm about to say, look, it's day one and people loving it, bro. So,
how do you feel?
I feel good.
Yeah?
Yeah, and I'm going to just leave it at that.
I know you've been pushing me like, come on, bro, we going to let this
man, look, so many people been waiting for this moment, every week. Like, yo, when y'all drop it, when y'all drop it. And now it's finally here and people just, celebrating.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, finally, it's here. We finna tune in. Let's listen to these brothers and what they have to say. And like I said, so far, feedback has been amazing. It's been good.
Yeah.
It's been what we set out to do, what we wanted for the people, to bless them, to encourage, have them think, that's that. Like, that's the feedback I've been getting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people, they truly been blessed by it.
For real.
Yeah, so that's good. We're in the right direction. We flowing good. So
that's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
Even with the whole thing about another brother, a woman reached out about, her son or grandson about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Needing the role models and having brothers around. And we know them, so it would only help to bring them around.
Absolutely. And, it's, not to cut you off, but it was two more as well.
Really?
Yeah. So they was asking, is it more than just a podcast? I'm like, the podcast is just, for us to just, put our voice out there and just let other people know, hey, you're not by yourself. But the brand itself is, Followed in Lead is a brand.
Nice.
The podcast is the branch. It's just another outlet. But mentoring programs is coming, all of that good stuff, man. Motivational speaking.
Yeah.
Y'all just stay tuned. We got that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's coming, bro.
It's amazing. I know we're supposed to move, but when you put something out there, you speak things into existence, right? You speak in life and you moving in a direction. And early on, you get hype. You're like, oh, you start talking about the vision. There's all these things that you want to do, but then you get focused on one thing at a time. It's like, all right, now we just focus on the podcast.
Yeah.
All the other things we know we're gonna do, but this is the first step. And then for people to start hearing, what we're putting out. We even been out. There's one episode. Less than 12 hours.
Yeah, bro.
And people are already asking for the other things that we've already, have
discussed and everything.
We're prepared for in the future. Yeah, that's thank God. That's dope.
It's beautiful, man. Thank God.
Yeah,
man. Well, look, let's get into this topic, bad mouth and all, bro. What we got for the people, bro?
Today's topic, we're talking about male vulnerability in relationships.
Yeah.
And relationships being all encompassing, right?
Yeah.
Relationships are familial, family, friends, coworkers, neighbors, your community, and spouse, or just dating, just being able to be vulnerable in all of these spaces. But really, the first and most important is being vulnerable with yourself and being honest.
There you go. Facts.
And if we can do that, then we can learn the courage to then do it with others.
Yeah.
So then we can have the things that we actually want, like the types of relationships we want. Yeah, I know for me. So before we go into that, like when you think of vulnerability, what it first comes to mind for you?
Man, when I think about that, bro, I think of it's something that's serious, but it's a double-edged sword. You know, it's something that can work in a man's favor, but it can also, you know, work in a man's, you know, it won't favor him. You know, it opens up lines of communication, trust. You know, it's building, you know, connections with other people, whether it be a spouse, friendship, family, all of that good stuff. But on the flip side, the other side of that sword, it can turn around and bite you in your butt. You know, you're revealing information, you know, you're revealing secrets and opening yourself. Like we say, you know, you're going to open yourself up. But, you know, that person you trusted, now they done flipped on you. Now, you know, yeah, it's biting you in your butt. You know, it's yeah, what's another way I can put it, bro? Like it's a way that could tear you down as well.
Yeah, it can be used as a weapon.
Yeah, it can be used as a weapon. But when I think about vulnerability, it's a good thing. At the same time, it can also be a bad thing.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, that's the risk we take.
Yeah.
You know, it's worth the risk, I think.
It is.
For the right situations. I mean, the Bible talks about not throwing your pearls to swine. So I'm not just going to be vulnerable with just any random, you know what I mean, that I don't value or trying to have a solid relationship.
I like that.
You know, if I'm going to a club, I'm not trying to be in there being vulnerable with these people.
You don't know them like that.
Yeah, or there's no mutual benefit, you know, and as far as a relationship is concerned. They just there for one thing. It's a party and have fun. They're not trying to have problems.
Yeah.
They're trying to get away from problems.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're not trying to get away from the truth. But when I think about having, you know, mentors, therapists, family, relationships, as far as a spouse or friendships, it's like, okay, these are the people that are trying to help me grow, that I want to now be vulnerable and be transparent with, that the areas that I might need to grow in, they can at least help me or show a mirror to be like, oh, okay, well, maybe, a little constructive criticism. Like, all right, well, maybe if you said it like this, it might, you might get a better result. Or just being honest with your spouse. I just feel like it's worth the risk because the types of relationships, the things that we want, are on the other side of that risk. It's like if you want to, I want money in the stock market, I have to take a risk.
Yeah.
Because there's no guarantee that it's gonna do. You can prepare all you want. You can look at the trends. You can read all the feedback on the business. You can do everything. But what they say, cross your T's and dot your I's. You can do everything the right way, and put $10,000 in this business, and it goes bankrupt tomorrow. How you know? It's a risk, but it's a risk worth taking if you want more money, right? If I want my portfolio to grow, I have to take risks.
Yeah.
There's a level of risk in all of it. So when it comes to men being vulnerable, we have to then calculate our risk with the right people. It's like, all right, she could now take my heart and tear it up. But, am I going to worry about the negative, or am I going to push for the positive and the things that I can benefit from this? And if it goes that way, then it's like, I look at it, there's a lesson that I could just take from that. But I should not keep myself in prison and afraid of what could go wrong when there's no evidence to it. It's because fear, right? False evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
And we're worried about, even if we've had those experiences with women that have done it to us, or even our current woman, there's just something that we can do and learn. I don't know. I don't got the answers to that.
You good, bro. You good. You good. And look,
it's worth the risk. That's all.
And look. I dig the risk. I dig. It's a lesson and all of that good stuff. But at the same time, it's like, okay, brothers is putting trust in another individual. And I'm not talking, you gave the club example, but not even that. If I'm putting my trust in someone, I'm married to this individual, or we've been dating for a while, or if it's, my mom or my pops or something like that. And I'm, it's a trust level already there. And you burn me because of my vulnerability. I open up to you or reveal something to you. Then a year later, you're throwing it in my face. It's cool to have that mentality, what you spoke of, but like in reality, what so many brothers go through is that right there. Like if I open up, I'm gonna be called weak. Or if I open up and I reveal myself to you, you throwing something back in my face. And so now I'm gonna shut down because I don't want to be seen as weak, or, something that was like if I'm addicted to something and you throwing it in my face, I'm like, all right, so I can't come to you no more. So now I'm shutting down. Now, it's that what's the word I'm looking for? That stigma, or that stereotype. Well, I can't say it's a stereotype because it's real, but you're like, oh, men, don't show emotions or none of that. Yeah, because you throwing it in my face. Or, men don't open up because, you're throwing it in my face. That's an everyday battle in reality a lot of men live with. And I feel you about that. Like, it's a risk, but at the same time, it's like, it can burn you too.
Calculated risk. Yeah. I mean, you still gotta cross your T's, dot your I's.
Even with the with the ones you trusting.
So I'm saying to get to where you are, and in investing in a relationship with someone, did you cross your T's and dot your I's? Did you evaluate whether this was the right situation for you? I'm not saying that it won't turn. Okay, this is what I want to get to.
You good, bro. Take your time.
There was a brother that I knew. I was going to therapy, and I came out of the therapist's office one morning. I used to go in the mornings, and the brother was like I know him from Morning Star, brother at the church, like a big brother to a lot of the youth. And he was coming out of there, and he was like, "Yo, bro, we gotta connect." I haven't seen him in a few years. I was like, "Oh yeah, definitely." Exchanged numbers. We went out, grabbed lunch. We're talking. We used to talk about like, life and depression and falling off the cliff, the deep end. Some people go off the deep end and want to just end it. And when it comes to relationships, he ended up telling me, about basically just not getting the support from his wife that might have benefited him not going down that route.
Yeah.
Going down that road.
Yeah.
And then eventually they were able to patch it up through communication and, in a battle. But, for him to communicate to me his vulnerability, right, that when he was vulnerable with his wife, that there was no soft landing for him. There was no safe space for him. Like, it was like, what's wrong with you? You're supposed to be good. Like, you the man. Like, get over it. Similar to what you're saying about when men get vulnerable, communicate. Oh, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Why are you telling me how you feel? I've dated, and we're having a great time. 4 or 5 months, and I'm now battling stuff, and I'm like talking to you because, if we're gonna be together, then I would think that I would feel some support, through what I'm going through, and it was like presented as, I like communicating, I want to be with you, I like you and all that, but I'm not, basically I'm not here for that.
Yeah.
That's too much for me to deal with.
Yeah.
It's too heavy.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, what? But you want to be together. This is relationships. Like, when you start going through stuff, you're going to expect me, what I mean, to be there for you. Then what is it in return?
Yeah.
And so I bring those two different scenarios up. Like, it's two different situations. Like, if I have a wife, like, it's a process, that we have to go through. It's a whole nother person I'm talking to. And she got a whole nother set of experiences, whether it's drama she been through, she never seen men communicate like that. So then her connection to that is weird, right? She's like resistant to it. It's foreign.
Yeah.
or the men that she's done could have used it and manipulated her, right? Or who knows? It's a process for both of us to come together and understand each other. Like, yo, I have to, if I'm trying to be vulnerable and you're using it as a weapon, I have to now communicate, yo, you doing this, this is the impact on my life. This is what it's gonna make me do. I don't want to now communicate with you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we have to fight for the thing that we want.
Yeah.
It's not always gonna be easy.
No.
And on the other end, if I'm just dating or we got somebody around that's not willing to accept or deal with that, now I have a decision to make. And I'm like, I'm gonna go and get married with this person, and then wonder why.
Yeah.
A year or two down the line, I'm not getting support when it's a struggle.
Yeah. And I already showed you, man.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's.
Yeah. Let me get something off my chest real quick, bro. Let me get something off my chest, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can't stand society, bro. Because, you know, I feel like society is, you know, it's the downfall of, you know, men and women, you know, the mishandle of vulnerability. You feel me? Like, you know, men and women have, you know, men have mishandled, you know, being vulnerable, and so have women. Like for generations, and it's a generational curse too. You know, when men, you know, that whole thing, yo, don't show weakness, don't express yourself, don't open up, this and that. Like that's a form of, you know, you being soft or being a punk. And then on the flip side too, you know, women, it's like, you know,
they speak the same language.
Yeah. And so, you know, society has played its ugly head, you know, in the downfall of vulnerability. So now it's a lot of miscommunication, you know, it's all over the place. It's supposed to be a beautiful thing, and everyone's supposed to relate and adapt and, you know, flourish in what vulnerability is really supposed to be all about from the jump. It's just opening myself up and expressing myself. And you should be cool enough, even if you don't know me, you should still be cool enough to relate and get to me, you know, understand me from where I'm coming from.
Yeah, when I think about that, like what you're saying, it's like people, like we have to get to a space where we're comfortable being uncomfortable and weak, right? And a lot of people are unwilling to deal with the weakness in them. They're unwilling to deal with the darkness that's within them. They're unwilling to be face the truth, right? Look in the mirror and see all the mess, to see everything that they've been through, see all the nonsense they continue to do, or all the past truths, you know, about the life that they lived. They
got to learn to unlearn a lot of stuff.
So to then deal with yours, I have to deal with mine, right? Because it goes into that the greatest fear, you know, that poem. Because at the end, it says, if you walk in the power of your, somebody's gonna pull it up, but like basically by you being free to walk in your power and your greatness, you're giving me the license to do the same.
Yeah.
So it's the same with vulnerability. If you walk in the power that vulnerability gives you, you give license to people around you to walk in it. But it's double-sided, because you walk in power, but like strength comes from a fall, right? Strength comes from weakness. So like, there's no way that I'm strong and I was never broken.
Yeah.
You know, everyone, when it comes to the Bible, everyone that had a great thing in their life, they were broken at one point. They were, you know, they needed to rely on God to have come through for them. Anyone that's great has had a dark period in their life.
Yeah.
And so I think everyone has to be willing to face the darkness and the truth about their own life and their past to deal with yours and to deal with your truth and your vulnerability.
Yeah.
If you start talking to me about the things you've been through, I remember what I've been through. You
and
talk
now
about
we
your
helping
life.
each other out. Yeah,
right.
We're feeding off each other now.
Right. But if I'm unwilling to face that and you start talking, it's uncomfortable. I'm not trying to hear it.
Yeah.
And imagine being in a relationship. I'm just thinking of people in each other's environment doing that. But in a direct relationship, a marriage, we dealing with that every day. and that's that other person hasn't been willing to deal with it, you know, there's gonna be conflict. You know, there's resistance. So Brene, I got this quote.
You pulled it up.
Yeah, Brene Brown is an author. She has TED Talks, and she talks about the power of vulnerability. And so if you YouTube Brene Brown in her TED Talk on vulnerability, I promise you to bless you. But here's this one quote. She talks about a study that she's done on different people because I think she was, going to school for like psychology or something, get a PhD. So here's an excerpt. There was only one variable that separated the people who have a strong sense of love and belonging and the people who really struggle for it. And that was the people who have a strong sense of love and belonging believe they're worthy of love and belonging. That's it. They believe they are worthy. And to me, the hard part of the one thing that keeps us out of connection is our fear that we're not worthy of connection. That was something that personally and professionally, I felt like I needed to understand better. So what I did is I took all the interviews where I saw worthiness, where I saw people living that way, and just looked at those. What do these people have in common? I have a slight office supply addiction, but that's another talk. Okay, sorry. And the first words that came to my mind were wholehearted. These are wholehearted people living from this deep sense of worthiness. So I wrote at the top of the manila folder and I started looking at the data. And she said, what's the theme? What's the pattern? And so here's what she found. What they had in common was a sense of courage. And I want to separate courage and bravery for you for a minute, right? The original definition of courage, it comes from the Latin word cor, meaning heart. And the original definition was to tell the story of who you are with your whole heart. Man, that's speaking to me, right? And so these folks had very simply the courage to be imperfect. They had the compassion to be kind to themselves first and then to others, because as it turns out, we can't practice compassion with other people. We can't treat ourselves kindly. And the last was they had connection. And this was the hard part. As a result of authenticity, they were willing to let go of who they thought they should be in order to be who they were, which you have to absolutely do for connection. The other thing that they had in common was this. They fully embraced vulnerability. They believed that what made them vulnerable made them beautiful. They didn't talk about vulnerability being comfortable, nor did they really talk about it being excruciating, as I had heard it earlier in the shame interview. They just talked about it being necessary. They talked about the willingness to say, I love you first. The willingness to do something where there are no guarantees. The willingness to breathe through waiting for the doctor to call after your mammogram. Their willingness to invest in a relationship that may or may not work out. They thought this was fundamental. And that was Brene Brown. That was just a quick excerpt.
That was dope.
It's like a 20-minute video, but it's powerful.
Yeah.
And these people that she talks about is a study, and they're wholehearted people, right? But they had courage, sense of vulnerability, and connection. Yeah. Right? And it's like you kind of can't have any of it without all of it. You can't have vulnerability without connection. Who am I going to be vulnerable with? Past myself, right? And that was the important part, what we talked about earlier. Doing it with yourself first. Like being honest in the mirror.
You have to.
If I'm now free and and then she talks about it, to have the connection, that they feel like it was fundamental. Yeah. Being, vulnerable is fundamental. Yeah. And so these connections that we have with our relationships, we have to be willing to be vulnerable. We have to fight. We have to be courageous. What she say? We gonna stay here.
She said it right. And that's
from the Latin word cor, meaning heart. And so it was your wholehearted, the courage. It was to tell the story of who you are with your whole heart. That's courageous.
And that's beautiful, bro.
It's
like
that's
that
how
stood
you
out.
fight through fear.
Yeah, that stood out to me right there, man, because I don't know what's wrong with the world today, but they link weakness with being vulnerable. But that's power, though. Being vulnerable is strength. Like, to be able to open up and release yourself and pour yourself out, that's true power right there. That's strength to just let it all go. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I guess, don't care or whatever. But, I'm finna give myself to whoever, express myself and let it be and let it flow. That's like the lady said, that's courageous right there. Now to double back to the connection part.
Yeah.
I like that too, because to speak on the spiritual side of it, like when you say vulnerability leads to connection, mm-hmm. and this is my own personal opinion, and I feel like I'm right about it too. You can't have, but you can't have a in-depth relationship with God if you don't express your true self. Yeah. Like if you don't open up and talk to God and be real. Well, you said it too, be real with yourself, but you got to be real with God to have that true connection, that one-on-one connection with God. You have to be vulnerable. You can't, be double backing, lying, trying to hide. I mean, God knows everything anyways, but to have that real connection with the Father, you have to be vulnerable. You have to express. You have to open up. You think about Jesus, he stayed expressing himself. He stayed open. That's how the connection was so dope and so tight between Jesus and God, because Jesus stayed expressing himself. He stayed in a vulnerable state,
because he had to have ultimate reliance on God to get him through.
And he knew where his true strength came from too.
Yeah,
that connection. It's a must. That's dope.
I'm looking for this thing that talks about what something you just said, and it's talk about strength. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so basically the quote is, to be strong is, in a relationship, is to be weak, right? In our relationships, we think being strong is, especially as men, right?
Yeah.
No, especially as men, being strong is not communicating, like you said.
Yeah.
Being strong is I got it together.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we struggling in our head, I got it. I'm good. I don't need nothing. I'm good. Yo, you need a few dollars, bro? Nah, I'm good. I ain't eating tomorrow.
Yeah.
But I'm good.
See?
Like that's, for men, that's what we mean as being strong is I don't need no help. I don't need you to know what I'm struggling with. I got it all together. Don't worry about me. I'll make it. And, okay. 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 9 through 10. But he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of Christ may rest upon me. For the sake of Christ, then I am content with weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and calamities. For when I am weak, then I am strong. And when you were talking about being strong and weak, like
just vulnerable.
That he's being vulnerable, just saying like, yo, right? He said, I am content with my weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and everything I deal with, my trials, I'm content.
Yeah.
Because I know that in me going through this, I'm gonna be made strong.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm being vulnerable with my wife or my friends or whatever, and they're not willing, just me being honest about where I'm at and what I'm going through, it's gonna give me strength, right? It's being courageous.
Yeah.
That is courageous in itself.
It is.
To be vulnerable, because you just don't know, right? I don't know what you're gonna do with this truth. I don't know what you're gonna do with my message and my past or my feelings, my fears. I don't know what you're gonna do with it. That's courageous, because I'm being true with my whole heart.
Yeah.
Like she said, I'm being true with my whole heart.
Yeah.
Now I put trust in you.
Yeah. But you also want to live in freedom, though.
That's freedom, though.
Yeah.
That is freedom.
You want to live in freedom.
That's ultimate freedom, because I don't have control over the truth. The truth is just what it is. This is my life. This is what happened. This is how I feel. This is the way I think. This is what I'm afraid of.
Yeah.
And it's letting go of the truth.
Yeah.
It's freedom. I mean, letting go of what you
I know
can't control is freedom.
Yeah, but that part too, but also the freedom that I'm speaking of, you're not in bondage. Like, you're not finna self-implode on the inside. You're letting it out, so now you're free.
Right.
You're letting the truth out, so now you're free. If you keep that stuff bottled in, that's when the stress and the heart attacks and the migraines and all the other stuff starts coming. The health issues. When you start speaking that stuff out, now you're free, you're open, you're loose. You know, you got peace.
Because you're no longer worried about perception.
Yeah.
And what others think.
Yeah.
I think the greatest thing about weakness and identifying your weakness is that then you realize that other people have weaknesses too.
Mm-hmm.
When you walk around with this sense of, lacking courage, and you're holding on to all these ideas of other people and what they think, and I got to present myself this way, it's like you've created everyone as being gods. Right?
Yeah.
They're perfect. So now I have to live up to be perfect, just like them. It's like, right? His grace is made perfect in my weakness.
Yeah.
So it's just being honest that I've struggled with this.
Yeah.
And it's freedom. It's a peace that surpasses all understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Once you just let go, right? Because I think this is a part of it too. When I look at my life, right? I was afraid to lose people, right? Yeah. So if I spoke the truth,
they were gonna bounce.
I was afraid that I would either not be good enough, or they wouldn't accept it, or they wouldn't love me. If I'm in a relationship and I tell you, yo, I don't like the way you do that, I wouldn't say it.
Yeah.
Because, what if she don't like me because of it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, she gonna leave me.
Yeah.
But if she leave me, then she just wasn't willing.
She wasn't for you.
She wasn't for me.
She wasn't for you.
And so that's the freedom, that we can't control the people around us. We can only control the truth. We can only worry about being free for ourselves. And so being free is, understanding our weakness,
mm-hmm.
understanding that everything that we go through is for a reason, that we're going to be made strong. And so allow the life's process, like we're afraid of life's process. That's what I noticed about myself, right?
Yeah.
And so once I started to let go of that fear, it's like, yo, this is how I think, this is what I want, this is what I'm looking for. You start to see how people around you might change, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's just be free in yourself. You give other people freedom to be themselves as well.
And that's good. And I think men need to hear that, because we've gotten into that place of, because I dealt with that too, wanting to preserve someone else's, I guess, perception or feeling like, okay, if I speak this, again, they ain't gonna like me anymore. Or, this might cost me my job, or, whatever the case may be. But men need to get into that zone of, use wisdom when you're doing your thing, when you're speaking your truth or speaking your piece.
Mm-hmm.
Do it in a productive way, but still, like, say that you got to get out of that fear, get out of that mindset of, okay, I'm gonna lose this if I speak my truth or speak this truth or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just imagine if, the apostles and Jesus and all them in the Bible, like, if they had that mentality, they shut their mouths up because they want to, preserve, baby, they want to stroke this person's ego or emotions or whatever. They want to preserve that. Like, no, just speak your truth. And like you said, things around you will get better.
Yeah.
People around you will get saved. People around you will flourish and get, and grow, because you're speaking your truth. The environment is starting to change. So men have to get out of that mentality of, oh, what if this happened or what if that happens? So what?
Yeah.
Like, just break free from that fear and speak. It's courageous.
Courageous.
Go and say it. Yeah, it's courage, yo.
It's courage.
Just be courage,
and that's
man.
the thing about being a man. In the Bible, how many times did God say, be ye courageous? It's like all through the Old Testament, and it's in the New Testament. Be ye courageous. And courage, and what she said is honesty within your whole heart.
Yeah.
Right? Being honest with yourself.
Yeah.
So, like, if I'm honest with myself, I'm not trying to go with y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all my peoples, but I'm not going that way with you, because I'm being honest with me. I'm not down for that.
Yeah.
And I was raised different. I'm good with that.
That's dope.
NFL players partying. He got a wife, and the homies is out there with, cheating on their wives. I'm good with that.
Yeah, it's okay to be different.
It's being courageous.
Yeah.
Like, that's honestly not what I want. Not allowing peer pressure to take over and
there
say,
you go.
I got to do that just to be friends with y'all.
Mm-hmm.
I actually don't need y'all. You know what I mean? I love you. I want to hang with you.
Yeah.
But I'm good
I'm
with that.
not about that business.
And if you expect me to hang with you to hang with you that I have to do that, I'm all set.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm good with myself.
Yeah.
And what I want.
Man, look, I don't know how many times the Bible spoke about not having fear. But I know it said it at least one time. So yeah, men don't need to have fear. Like, it's okay. So if your boys is wilding out and doing something, foolish, again, you don't have to walk in fear and walk in that peer pressure and do it. Stand out, like be different. Show the men that, it can be done a different way. Have the integrity, have the courage to, do the right thing, I guess.
I think it's it all goes back around to just all relationships and not just spouse, in dating or being with a spouse, significant other. When I walk through the neighborhood, I talk to my neighbors. I can walk with a level of insecurity or fear. What if they don't talk to me? Whatever. I'm gonna just keep going because I'm gonna be me, right? It's being a level of courageous. Being courageous is not doing it for a response from somebody else. If I walk at my job and I say hi to this white person, they don't say nothing to me. What am I gonna do the next time I see him?
Exactly.
Am I gonna be upset because they must be racist?
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna just keep moving and be like, how you doing? Next time I see him again. I don't care if you don't respond to me. I'm gonna make sure you respond. Oh, excuse me, how you doing? Oh, hi. And then next time I do it again. Eventually, how you doing? There's communication.
Yeah.
Same thing if I do with my neighbors. They look just like me. They don't want to talk. How you doing? That's being courageous.
Yeah.
It's creating the environment that you want to live in.
There you go.
It's your space.
There you go.
And the relationships that you want, if your spouse, you have the ability to create it. It's life and death is in the power of the tongue.
Yeah.
So we speak life, right? Be courageous and speak life.
That's
if you're
dope.
vulnerable, and being vulnerable causes you to speak life, right, into somebody else. If I'm saying this is what the life I live, this is the experiences I've had, but I see the light on the other side. You don't have to go that way. I realize how, free I am, because I went through that, or because of this process. I've struggled, for 20 years, with pornography, and that might help somebody get out of it or not go into it or battle their way out.
One of the two or three. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm with alcohol, drinking. I've been,
some kind of addiction.
Yeah, I go to my AA meetings, or it's 2021. I talk about going to therapy. We talk about going to therapy.
Yeah.
That can help somebody.
Yeah.
Go in their process to be free.
Man, one of the best things an individual could do is just be themselves. That's it. Just be you.
Yeah.
And then that, like I said, you're gonna help someone on the road, yo.
Right.
Just be you, man. There's so much power in that. Man. Look, and vulnerability, it has nothing to do with weakness. It's at the end of the day, it's true strength, bro.
Yeah.
When you get down to the nitty gritty, it helps the individual through the emotions. It helps you go through your emotions easier, bro. And it helps promote, good mental health. Yeah, a good spirit at the end of the day. Vulnerability across the board, like we said, it's not just subject to just a marriage or spouse or just a boyfriend girlfriend thing. Across the board, it encompasses a lot.
Yeah.
What you got?
No,
because I said something. It seemed like a light bulb went off.
So, in the Bible, James chapter 5 verse 16. Therefore, confess your sins to one another and pray for one another, that you may be healed. The prayer of a righteous person has great power, as it is working. But the first thing it said was confess your sins.
Yeah.
Right? Being transparent, being vulnerable about the life, the things that you struggle with, the things that you have struggled with.
Yeah.
You know, being honest, you know, showing grace to others in their struggles. Like, hey, listen, this is what I struggle with too. You can make it. You be good. What helped me through my depression was a brother telling me, like, yo, I dealt with it too.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the military and I deal with it, you know. I go to a therapist, you know, every week, and I need, you know, and he was to say that I'm jacked up, right? You see me on a daily basis, I'm fine. I go home, I drink a whole bottle of tequila in my face, but I come to work every day. He's like, that helps me get through. Not to say that you should do that. I'm just saying that was his, you know, him being vulnerable with me, that I can make it, I can get through it, I can, you know, I can get free.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, as I always said, you know, you're overcome by the power of a testimony. Mm-hmm. And that rings true. You know, like I said, when you're speaking your truth, when you're speaking of the things that you went through and overcome, that gives hope, that gives life to the next individual. And it doubles back. It's like, be you.
Yeah.
You know, the things that you've gone through, you know, that's your own personal story. You know, you went through it not just for yourself, but you went through it for someone else to bring them out the fire or prevent them from going in the fire.
That's why the old church used to do testimonial services, right?
Yeah, look, it lasted for like
testimony service.
It lasted for like 2 hours. Yeah. Them old mothers used to get it, man. But it was dope though. Like, people needed to hear that encouragement though. They needed to hear that.
I think that's why like motivational speakers are so big now, because people needed the encouragement, right?
Yeah.
You know, they need to hear somebody, oh yeah, I've been through this.
Mm-hmm.
Eric Thomas, a hip hop preacher, I was homeless.
Yeah.
You know, and he would just talk about his struggle. But then he talks about fighting to overcome it.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like, yo, you can overcome too.
Yeah.
You got no excuse.
Yeah, when you think about all Les Brown, Dr. Miles Monroe, so many Deion Sanders, they all been in
Oprah.
Oprah.
Right.
They all been in a rough spot. LeBron too. Yeah. They all been in a rough spot, but they overcame it. Yeah. You know, you can visualize, you can see them, how great they are now, how they doing now. You know, millionaires, you know, motivational speakers, just out here doing their thing and blessing the community. Like, yo, that can be you too. Yeah. You know, if somebody else did it, that just paved the way. Like, you can do that as well. Yeah. Put in the work.
Put in the work.
Yo, put in the work, man.
All right, brother. You got any last words for this?
Man, yes, I too have a
just a motivational moment.
Nah, just a little quote, man. By Oprah, and you just said her name a while ago too, bro. But vulnerability is being willing to express the truth no matter what. The truth of who you are, the essence at your core of what you're feeling at any given moment, is being able to open up your soul so that others can see their soul in yours. That's Oprah Winfrey. Yeah.
That's the truth. That's good.
Yeah. That's all I got for the people, bro. What you got?
Shout out to Oprah for that one.
Yeah, man.
All right, the last thing I have is two things. Will Smith's quote, he says, on the other side of our greatest fear is the thing that we want the most.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know, he says it in a way that it's on the other side of the things that cause us all fear.
Yeah.
It's always on the other side of fear. You know, whatever it is. If it's salvation, fear. You know, if it's relationship, there's a level of fear. If it's trying to make money, it's fear. If it's black and white stuff, fear. You know, for whatever we want, there's fear. Mm-hmm. There's something on the other side that we want. So when it comes to vulnerability, where if we have a level of fear, on the other side of that is the thing that we desire the most.
Yeah.
Having quality friendships, having quality relationships.
There you go.
Quality familiar stuff. Like, we have to get through something to get that. And it's not like, okay, I'll break through this fear and I'm going to have that immediately. Mm-hmm. It's a process.
Yeah.
You know, just like it took you 34 years to be 34.
Yeah.
It took people's marriages 60 years to be as good as you see it now.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they had to go through different levels of vulnerability. And that, like, me being vulnerable about my finances is different than me being vulnerable about my sex life.
Yeah.
It's different than me being vulnerable with, you know, my coworkers.
Yeah.
You know, talking to them about the black experience.
Mm-hmm.
That's different.
Yeah.
You know, so like being courageous, we have to push through. And I'm learning, and we're both learning.
We're all learning, yep.
We're learning every day. And so to end it on the list of vulnerability, the benefits of vulnerability, 6 things. Vulnerability helps build intimacy in relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Vulnerability increases self-worth. Vulnerability aids innovation and motivation. Vulnerability provokes compassion. Vulnerability is a call for accountability. And vulnerability means less loneliness.
Yeah.
So
I like that.
Yeah.
That sounds like a good recipe to a long, healthy, successful life.
And that's what we all want.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, bro. So I have a question for you.
What's good?
What does, so I've never been married, I've dated, I've been in relationships and all that, and I've seen different levels of vulnerability. I've been a guy where I didn't communicate for, 10 years. Even honestly to the level of so I had a conversation with a friend of mine recently, 2 friends.
Yeah.
And basically it was said that so my therapist, him and that's how my brain, I'll bounce around. So I had a conversation in therapy a year or 2 ago.
Yeah.
And he would talk to me about how I communicate really well and I'm transparent. And I was like, yeah, but there's a difference between transparency and vulnerability. I can be transparent to you about, my money or relationships, but vulnerability is the deep, level of, being open. Transparent is I could let you see through that there's $1 on the other side of the window. I'm holding a stack of money. It's transparent. The window is transparent. You can see through that. But you don't know if there's 20s in there. You don't know if there's a bunch of ones. You don't know what's in that pile of money. That's vulnerability for me to open it and show you all that's there.
Yeah. That's
the difference for me where I realized that how I mastered it, that I was good with transparency, but vulnerability, I was like, I'm going to keep you right there, homie.
Okay.
Stay back. So
my
friends would say that to me, even recently, yo, I feel like we've been friends, but I don't think we've really been friends.
They don't know you like that.
You've always kind of kept it, or kept me, or kept us at bay to not let people in. I was like, I had to evaluate. I've done that pretty much with everyone in my life. And I was good at keeping distance, but being transparent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. But
I've been there before too.
But
I know.
The realness and allowing you in to have that connection, I stayed away from it.
Yeah.
And we talked about with Christina about love.
Yeah.
And how shying away from
Yeah.
Because it causes fear, right? You got to be vulnerable to get that. So, how does someone, what does it take to have a successful marriage, to be married to someone else and be vulnerable? What level of vulnerability do you need to have a successful relationship?
To be honest, I would say for it to be successful right off the jump, you would have to already be that person. Because if you come in and you're not used to opening up, it's going to take some time. You're going to stay, wife comes yo, what's wrong? Oh, nothing. I'm good. If that's been your mentality for the last 10 years, you're going to bring that in that. As soon as you say I do and you put the rings on and all the other stuff, the light is not going to switch like that. It's going to take some work for you to get to that point for it to be successful and, for you to be vulnerable. At the same time, the wife has to be open too. Like I said, different levels. I could probably come one way and be vulnerable, okay, this is how I'm feeling. Or, and I say it in a certain type of way. It could be harsh, could be pleasant, but in a way it's vulnerable. But your wife has to be able to catch that, and vice versa with the husband as well. But for that to be successful like that, you would have to come into a relationship already with that mentality. So it'll take some time. It'll take some time, for you to get that, for you to grow and get to that place of being open and being vulnerable, in a marriage. Like, process, take steps. Yeah.
What were you able to do to prepare yourself?
I'm still learning, bro.
Yeah.
I'm still learning. And I would say I probably just got good at it over the last month or two.
Yeah.
Just opening up and speaking my piece, saying how I feel. But again, at the same time, it also takes your partner to catch that. If they don't catch it, like if they say communication is like the key, but also comprehension is also key as well. Like, they got to understand you. We spoke about love languages. Okay, if I'm expressing myself in this format or this type of way, I need for you to get that. Like, I'm opening up, I'm releasing myself, I'm telling you how I feel. But if you're not catching it or you refuse to catch it, then it can be an issue.
Yeah.
So that's how that goes as well. So if I'm opening up, you have to be able to be in a place of, receiving and understanding as well. If you don't understand, it's going to always continue to be like a clash.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah.
And so, like, you're learning to get better.
Yeah, absolutely. Day by day, step by step, it gets better. You got to put in work. It's a work in progress, bro.
Put the work in.
It's a work in progress, bro. But vulnerability, if I can be real, some men think it's a bunch of BS when it comes to relationship. It's bull.
Yeah.
Women say they feel like some women don't want a man that's vulnerable. They feel like, if you are vulnerable, again, they don't comprehend, they don't catch it, they don't get it, but they get the I'm good. But they want a man that's vulnerable.
Yeah.
But when you open up, they don't get it. Like, you would think, quote unquote vulnerability, weakness, that type of thing. That would be a woman's thing. Like, women can attach and gravitate and grab a hold to that quicker. But sometimes they don't. So a lot of men feel like it's a bunch of BS being vulnerable. So they just stay to themselves. They stay hard, or they stay sheltered. They stay the quote unquote, I'm good type of mentality.
It sounds like prison. Like, not like prison, like.
Now I know what you mean, bro.
Facility, but in your mind.
It could be prison, but at the same time, it could be quote unquote, I want to maintain peace within myself, or I want to maintain peace within the household. So, I'm gonna hit I'm good. I'm gonna shy away from being vulnerable because, it's not received, or, no one's getting it, or no one's understanding, or whatever. I understand me. God understands me. So, I'm going to talk to those two. I'm going to talk to myself, and I'm going to talk to God, or go seek therapy or whatever, so I can have some kind of outlet or whatever the case may be. But, yeah.
It's like, for me, we going to have to, this probably going to be another episode. We're going to have a part 2 about vulnerability. And I feel like, for me, I've, like, learned to be, like, I feel like a warrior. Like, I want to face a challenge head on. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm uncomfortable with myself, not that I'm uncomfortable with myself, if I have things I need to communicate and I'm not, I feel bottled up. I feel tension within myself because I can't express myself. And so, instead of walking around with this tension, we have to face this, because there's an environment that's being created that we're not really conscious of, because there's no real connection. Like, to not be able to communicate is to not allow connection. You know what I mean? And so then if we're not talking about the real things that's going on, there's no connection. So we just two people in the same space. And then there's resentment, there's other things that can come about.
That sounds cute.
I'm saying that's how I feel.
Yeah, I feel you.
I think about me not being able to communicate.
Yeah, I'm talking about that sounds cute as far as the part, let's get together, let's communicate.
I'm saying that's a fight. That's not cute. There ain't nothing cute about a fight. No, like, that's a daily.
As far as like
battle.
That whole scenario two individuals coming together trying to.
Oh yeah, it sounds cute.
It sounds cute, but it don't flow like that always. No. You know, even when you're trying to express yourself, it don't get like that. Yeah. So yeah, you get the fights, or you're trying to get the how I want to word this, man. I guess you want to get the stuff resolved or whatever. Even when you're communicating properly, it don't flow that way. Like, it sounds good. Like, we say that we need to talk. I need to get this off my chest. You need to get this off your chest. We're gonna come together. We're gonna make love, and it's gonna be beautiful at the end. It sounds good. I mean, that's the statement that everyone always says. It sounds cute, but it's not always like that, though. I would say, man, communication is dope, but comprehension so much better. Yeah. You understand an individual when they're talking and when they're releasing, even if they don't come in right off the bat, being vulnerable. There's something that's a trait, a characteristic that they have to learn along the way. Mm-hmm. I grew up hard, or I grew up not expressing emotions. So I get married, or a man gets married, they don't know nothing about all that. All they know is, I'm good. And the wife is pulling, like, yo, open up, this and that. And eventually that person gets to that point where they open up, and now they open up. You don't understand, you don't grasp it, or you yourself, you're not even ready for it.
I was going to say vice versa.
You're not ready.
The man's pulling for it, and you're not.
And you're not ready. You're not actually ready for, the vulnerability, or a man that's vulnerable. Right. So that's why dudes say, sometimes when women say they want the man to be vulnerable, they be like, yo, it's a bunch of BS.
And on that note,
peace.
Thank you for listening to the Follow Then Lead podcast. You can reach us on social media at.
The email is followthenleadinc@gmail.com. Instagram, Follow Then Lead Podcast. And our Twitter is Follow Then Lead P. Until next time.
Take it easy.
Word.